here's the place of comfort. There's none there. So don't. Pretty soon, the horse in the beginning, we're talking. They push a lot against that because they really want to be sure. If they can just push through it, why wouldn't I? If they can find comfort here and they can't push through that, they find this place the sweet spot. So I want to tell you about how they. I had a horse one time named Ace. Sometimes I called him Ace Hole. So this particular day, I did. And Ace was a big, strong. This is years ago. He's a wonderful horse now. He's actually a kid's horse now. But years ago when he was young, he's big, strong appendix. I was in Colorado, and I was riding along on the trail, and a deer came through the bush, and I mean, he jumped and spooked and ran. And he went on a real runaway. And I don't know if you guys have ever been on a real runaway, but it's something you don't want to be on. You never want to have one. I'd rather have a horse buck me off right here and now than go on a really out of control runaway. And he was. And I was trying to bend. The bit, it wouldn't. I had two hands. There was nothing. He ran me down this valley, or up this valley to begin, through this mesquite bush. I was crashing through. He cut me all up. Finally, he went through a 4-strand, smooth wire fence, pulled all this fence down. It got caught around us. It was dragging the fence out. The steel posts went flat to the ground. I mean, it was, and then that's when he really opened up, because, of course, the fence was chasing him. Now he's coming down this valley. I'm still on, and I am free. It's 30 seconds or more by now. It has been going on a long time. He's just getting looser and faster by the second. He's heading down this valley. It's a grass downhill incline, and at the bottom there's always got to be a corner and a rocky ditch, ravine. And I'm not advising this. I'm not saying that's what to do. I'm just telling you what I did to survive at that moment. I was like, ooh, throw myself off. And as I went to throw myself off, I threw myself, my foot kind of got stuck in my lariat, and I hit face first and funneled all this dirt into my mouth, but I skid along and I was okay, but scratched up, and mostly my ego. But I survived it. So I gather him back up, and I'll tell you, I mean, I was like, what the heck? I mean, that was the scariest thing. And I'd worked as a working cowboy. I mean, I had scary things, but that was off the chart. So I go back, and I was at Pat Pirelli's place at that time. And I go back, and I'm walking through the yard, and I, put him away, and I got scrapes on my face, a couple scrapes, and try to avoid Pat the rest of the day. I didn't want him to know. I didn't want him to see it. So finally, somebody told him, right? He said, oh, yeah, he must have found out somehow. So he walked past, he goes, hey, Jonathan, how you doing? I'm good, yeah, good, yeah. See you later, buddy. He goes, no, come on over for a coffee. Let's have a visit. Oh, yeah, great. So I come over there, he says, hey, so I heard you had a little fun there out on the trail. And I said, well, it's all okay. And I was trying to not, I didn't want to talk about it. I was too embarrassed. And I said, yeah, my horse ran away. Finally, I had to tell him what happened. And I said, he ran away, man. What do I do? He really ran away. And I go, what? Why? And he said this. He said, your horse doesn't know where the end of the rope is. So I went like this. I'm on the rope. To Ace, when I seen him next, I go, Ace, that's the end. I just don't know what the hell does that mean. You don't know where the end of the rope is? What does this mean? And he walked away. Your horse doesn't know where the end of the rope is, and he left. So he left me with that. It took me about, I don't know, a year and a half to really realize what that meant. And I did not know what that meant. And finally I heard a story, and it was about, and I want to tell you the story. It's not what I'm trying to do, but it emphasizes the point. Is that, do you guys know how they get an elephant to be staked to the ground with a 10-inch peg put into the sand, and a 6,000-pound elephant will not pull it out even though he could easily? What they do is when he's a little baby, they go like this. They put a big long one in, with a heavy, heavy rope. They tie it to his foot. He wakes up in the morning, he goes to the end of the rope, and he pushes and he pushes and he pushes and he pushes like that until he gets tired, can't pull it out, he goes back and lays back down. He gets up, rests, goes to the end, pushes and pushes, and he can't push it out. He goes back and lays down. He does that for 7 days, they say. 7 to 10 days. After 7 to 10 days of that, when he's little, then he goes to the end. On about the 10th day, he goes there and he goes like this. Oh, I can't push it. And never pushes it again. Then you can stake him with the tiny little stake that he could easily just push out. So he's found the end of the rope. Now, it's a method. There's other ways to have them find the end of the rope without an absolute end in terms of the horse. I don't know about the elephant. Be like me advising on the camel. But the point is this, is that he pushed, and he could not push through that pressure. So when he came off of it, he got discomfort, but he mentally didn't believe he could. So with our horse, if you think the elephant, if he could push, and then he could get through that pressure, and he could go, what would happen the next day? He'd push a little harder. What would happen by the time he's 6,000 pounds? Even if there was pressure, he could push and push and push. But if he could pull that, by the time he's 6,000 pounds, he could pull a house down. Right? He's pushed through pressure and got relief. Pushed through pressure and got relief. So when I was on your horse, and if I make that the sweet spot, and I pick here's how horses push through pressure all the time, and people don't even know it. They become stronger. If the rope is held too tight, say the rope is held tight like this, there's no comfort to the horse, but then the horse goes like this, and the rope slides through and he gets himself comfort, he's just pushed through the pressure. He became stronger to push on the pressure. So it happens all the time because the horse just goes like that. They root the rein out. But I think of that line, the same thing. If he pushes on the edge of that, if he just pushes on it, goes here, pushes on it, goes there, pushes on it, there, goes there. If I'm riding him and he pushes on my leg and goes there, and I don't bring him back, he's again became stronger. He's not learning where the end of the rope is. He doesn't. If I'm riding a horse and I feel like I pick up on the rein and the rope comes tight, his only way off that is coming slack, and then I release. But if it comes tight and then he gets more slack, I've just made him stronger. So it's a defeating principle when it comes to human potential, because lots of people, I'm sure you speak about it, is that our mind believes we can't when we really could. But on the other way around with the horse, if they think I can always push harder, the more prey animal in, I can always get slack to the rope, this becomes a very, very dangerous situation. Don't become soft and willing and light because they're thinking prey animal, struggle, go against it, I'll get comfort. So in the times where it's a high amount of pressure, it's a matter of just trying to be persistent with it to get them off it a little bit. And that's like when Greg's horse reacted to the camel yesterday. Pressure was way up here. And there was a few moments where your horse thought, if I just close my eyes and I just go, I can get through it. And I just stayed blocking him. And as soon as he healed, he didn't get all the way to neutral, but he didn't get to run through us. That was the point of yesterday, as he walked out. And then when you walked out again and again, he didn't learn to be stronger as a result. So every little yield, whether it's your hand on the nose, if they flick your hand off and you release, they've pushed through the end of the rope. They've just became stronger, right? They're going to push on it more. So, every one of these little things means so much. And the elephant story sometimes will help you understand just the end of the rope concept. So when you release there, they hold their head, they bend, and they relax. You're putting it in the brain. So when I bend you, you stop and relax. So I hope that makes sense, guys. We're going to set up a big afternoon for you of riding. And